Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my technical video. And today we are going to take a look of technical aspect in my game. And we are going to take a look of the easiest aspect to the hardest aspect in my game. So, the first aspect that we are going to take a look in my game today is the sound system. While playing the game, the player might want to lower down the music or the sound effect. Because of that, they can change the volume in the setting. But how does it work? So, a game object called Sound Manager, which going to be don't destroy unload game object, and it going to hold two values, one for music volume value and one for sound effect volume value. So once the player have set the volume value and happy with it, the sound manager going to take those new value then store it in the sound manager class. After that, all the game object that have sound is going to be asking the sound manager for the value. Then they will take those new value, then play the sound effect or music based on the value that given by the sound manager. Next up is the dialogue system. The dialogue system is an easy system to do, but if you're not being careful about it, your text might get overlap on each other. So the dialogue system will be containing an array of sentences that going to be appear next, then a function to be increasing the index value of the array so that the next sentence can be shown on screen. That's it. But if you notice a problem here, you got a good eyes right there. Like I said from the beginning, it is easy to do, but you have to be careful because we need to set the text to be empty before we set the next sentence to be appear on screen so that it won't be overlap on each other. The next aspect in the list that we are going to take a look is different modes work on multiple scenes. You guys might already play the old version of my game where each of the level have different mode, which is not a great way to do if you're aiming for a game that has replayability. So what I have done was put all the game mode into a scenes, then a mode manager which going to be holding all of them, then a game object call it mode selection that will be containing all of the info of which mode have been selected. So how does it work? So the mode selection will be holding all of the info of what player have selected. Then, once it moves to other scenes, the mode manager is going to find the mode selection, then take the info, which is an ID. From there, it will apply to itself. Once it got the info, or mode ID you may say, it's going to check which game mode going to set if it that ID. Once it find it, it's going to set activate that game mode. Moving on to next aspect is the button. So there are many buttons in my game, but the button that I'm talking about here are the reload button, hammer button, craft button, and many buttons that are similar to it. So what's make it so special about these buttons? Well, as you know that this is a mobile game, so we cannot do something like this. Since the mobile game is going to be touching the screen mainly, because of that, we're going to need button for player to do things like ability activation, reload gun, crafting, and many more. But how do we going to assign those buttons since the function inside the player script and the player never exists in the first place? Well, with this simple variable and this simple line which are delegate void and add listener, so how does it work? So once player spawn into the scenes, the player going to get the canvas first, to be able to get access to the child of canvas where it contains all the button that we need. Then, once we got all the button that we need to assign, we're going to tell the class that the button is holding, call it base button, which it has delegate void inside of it. Let's call it button delegate. So we are going to tell the button delegate that, hey, this is our reload function. Now you are going to be perform the reload function. Then, once the button delegate hold the reload function, we're going to put button delegate to the button using add listener, so that when player press the button delegate will be called, then it will perform the reload function for us. Moving on to the final aspect of the video, which is, may I have some drum please? AI! Yes, our final section of the video is AI. So, if you did not remember, I have mentioned that in my game, the enemy is going to be using A star to track and follow the player, which is a great idea. However, I still have to modify the A star since the original version is still not good enough for me. In the original version, you will set the target to be chased, which is the player, then the zombie will draw a line from zombie itself to the player. Once it got the line, it will follow the line to the player. Sounds great, right? Wrong. If you do something like that, you'll counter many problems, such as the zombie will stuck in the corner of a map, or zombie will try to go through wall to get you. Because of that, I have modified the A star to make it works better. So, to make the AI works better, I have made some game objects to manage different tasks. So, an object called room location, which is a trigger that's going to be placing on each room in a map that will detect which room that player just moved to. Another object called player locator will tell the zombie which room that player in. So how does it work? When the zombie spawn into the scenes, the player locator will tell the zombie that, hey, player is in the living room. Then, listening to the player locator, the zombie will draw a line to the room that player locator just mentioned. After that, zombie will proceed following the line to the room. But wait, that's not all of it. While zombie on its way to the room, the zombie might have to go through a different room to get to the room that player currently in. So before continue moving to the room location, which is a trigger for each room that will detect whether the player is in the room, it will check whether the player is inside of the room. So if the zombie currently in a different room that player not inside of it, the room location will tell the zombie that, hey, player not inside of this room, player is inside that room, so go to that room and get him. But if the player is in the same room with the zombie, the room location will tell the zombie that, hey, he's in here, go get him. So when the player not in the same room with the zombie, and the zombie knew about it because the room location told that, it will continue moving to the room that player currently in. Once it reaches the room, then again the room location will check if the player is still in that room. So if he's still in that room and the zombie also in the same room that player in, then it will tell the zombie to chase him down. But if player already left the room location will know which room that he went to. So the room location will tell to the player locator that, hey, player is inside of this room. Then the player locator will tell to the zombie that, hey, player is inside of this room, go and get him. So this is the end of my technical video. I hope you understand everything, and thank you for listening.